Yes, we are live. Okay. Welcome to our hockey after hour, episode 13. No sweep for you. With us tonight is back after being gone from 2 episodes is Ben, who goes by on Reddit, user Shutterfly, and on Twitter at sardines_packs. Also with us tonight is Ron, who goes on both Twitter and Reddit at Ron in the Box, and special guest host Cassie, who goes by both Reddit and Twitter Abstract Halo. And I'm Andrew, and I go by on Reddit APAD and Twitter at Andrew Paddock. So let's dive right into it, guys. Rangers Habs.
They don't have a broom?
Man, I decided to take a shower at the end of regulation because I was like, oh man, overtime. I can take a shower and then I can catch the rest of the overtime because I clearly won't shower and cut into overtime, right? And then just go in like the first minute. And then I missed everything. That was great because I took a little
And Chris Kreider learned to put the puck in the net and not himself in the net.
Yep.
So
That was nice of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say there were a lot of clutch feet there. Cause the Habs go-ahead goal at near the end of the third that went off the Rangers' foot or leg, and the tying goal by the Rangers also went off a foot.
yeah,
All about the feet today.
yeah. If Kreider had it his way, it would have,
Been him in the net, not the puck.
Yeah, I was like, shit. I get credit for that goal, don't I?
Chris the human puck Kreider.
Yes.
One thing I noticed in this game, though, was Montreal seemed a lot more calmer than they did after 1 and 2.
Yeah. Even though the shot differential implied,
Yeah.
it was really, the Rangers were dominating. I think it was closer than I think the score provided a better view of what the game was like than the shot total.
Or even the save total, too.
Yeah, so.
I think it just shows a few things it proves a few things wrong that have been spread around about certain Europeans that game. So
Yeah.
Vanek got an assist.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Another big news. Canada lost in the quarterfinals in the IIHF tournament.
Thank you, Tyler Myers.
Oh,
So-
jeez.
Go Canada!
Hey, you guys have a gold medal, so...
That's true. But I feel like it's terrible to just write off that tournament, right? I mean, like outside of the NHL, you do get a lot of players putting together, and you never want to half-ass anything. And I always get the impression that like USA and Canada, I feel like they do tend to half-ass it a little bit. Like, that's not Canada's A team, and that's certainly not their B team either. And
I
I
They
feel like I
also-
could just end up this whole podcast just sighing a lot.
Well, Finland didn't have Rask, and that's half their team. I mean,
Yeah, but
At the
Finland
same
also
time,
has.
we had Pekka Rinne though. Like, if he was healthy, he would have obviously been in this year's Olympics.
yeah, and no Teravainen for the Finns either.
Yeah, like
It's really just
Oh,
been a
now it's
turn.
coming on the TV. The replay's coming on the TV too. Oh man, just
Well, who did Team Canada have in net? Let me.
they had Ben Scrivens today, and he played all right. He made saves when he needed to, but at the same time, you know,
Myers did something boneheaded and stupid.
yeah, he had just had a really bad turnover, and that led to the game-winning goal. And Scrivens also did give up a very soft goal. The tying goal was extremely. Ooh. Basically, I watched this game, and it was just. I'm sorry, I'm not making a very good discussion right now, and that's just because I'm just like cringing this whole time, trying to think about what to say, and that's all
I'm pretty sure it's Reimer's fault because if
vocal cringe,
if Reimer had played better against France, he would have won the game for Canada in this situation. So it's all Reimer's fault. I think we should all blame Reimer.
Nah, I think Reimer played okay. That's okay though.
I'm all for blaming Tyler Myers if he screwed up because he does that sometimes.
And the U.S. and the U.S. was beaten by the Czechs. Also Reimer's fault. 4-2, which is even if you're a U.S. fan, you have to get some pleasure in seeing Yager. I feel like every U.S. fan has, or I guess not. Maybe not every U.S. fan from Pittsburgh, but almost every U.S. fan has a soft spot for Yager. So they.
What I will say though is, I know you're making another one of the jokes about Reimer getting way too much blame than he deserves, but man, why do they just keep? I don't get why the States just kept playing Tim Thomas.
Because their options weren't very good.
Yeah.
Wait, could you say that one more time?
Who are the others?
The other options for the United States are David Leggio and Connor Helbrook, who plays for the University of Massachusetts Lowell. So we have a college goalie, a career AHL backup goalie, and Tim Thomas for the U.S.
And Tim Thomas is 40 years old, and his numbers significantly dropped off this year. And granted, he was playing in front of not the Boston Bruins defense, but still, he was struggling to get a 90% save percentage.
Right.
Oh God.
Like he's hit his he's now old. He's now too old for hockey and should retire.
Yeah.
And
he's
the
just
first thing to
done.
go is, and he needs to go faster than that horrible mustache he had for that time.
Tim Thomas porn stash.
Yeah, 80s porn stash.
The Freedom stash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
not
wasn't a
looking
good look.
That mustache is never a good look.
So, yeah, I hope he takes this tournament and uses it as a wake-up call to just retire.
Yeah. I mean, this was probably just like his swan song. Is there really any chance that he comes back to play in the AHL next year, realistically?
I'm about to say chance of someone being able to pull off a mustache.
I think maybe Winnipeg if they're desperate. Would be the only team that.
They would sooner take Reimer than pick up Thomas. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, if they're desperate.
And besides, they quote committed to Pavlik, so I don't know how true that is, but they said they did.
Actually, Tim Thomas's mustache isn't that bad. It's pretty nice.
Okay, I gotta Google this now too then. M. Thomas
It's very cop
Mustache.
stash.
I'm actually kind of terrified. Um, I feel like I need an adult.
Oh God, I feel. Oh, his. He looks like one of those guys you'd see when a sex offender moves into your neighborhood and they send out those flyers. That's the kind of picture I get.
Ugh.
uh,
It's creepier than the Crosby stash.
no, the Crosby stash is just like middle school. This is my first time growing a mustache.
I could just imagine him at like
works.
a middle school dance, like at arm's length dancing, like not even dancing, like but at arm's length with a girl, like swaying side to side. You know, and then that fucking Aerosmith song comes on.
Don't wanna close my eyes. That.
Yeah. Oh jeez. So yes, him and his creepy mustache need to go.
Yeah.
Belabor the tangent too much, but now that I look at Burt Reynolds' mustache, I take that back. He can't pull it off. He just looks like every other douchebag. with
Ben sounds like he's really far away.
Are you in a tunnel?
Yeah, I'm in a tunnel. I don't have my normal microphone. I have because that's still down at school with my computer, my computer I brought up, my microphone I have not. So I'm using this like cruddy headset thing. Like the microphone I use for gaming.
You also sound like you're dealing with the elements as if it is hella windy where you are.
Alright.
I know what you're talking about. It could be because I'll mute the Cubs game in the background. Yeah.
Well, speaking of mustaches in the NHL, the best mustache, it belongs to Cal Clutterbuck.
No
I
question.
was gonna say when I did a Google image search for Tim Thomas mustache, for whatever reason a picture of Cal Clutterbuck showed up, and I was like, yeah, Cal Clutterbuck.
Yeah, that's the picture I'm looking at too. It's very almost Daniel Day-Lewis-esque in
Oh,
There Will Be
wait.
Blood.
Peros can pull off a mustache.
Peros and Clutterbuck, they
Oh,
could have
yeah.
like a mustache competition.
Okay, there we go. We found someone that can pull off a mustache. There we go.
I think this has been a successful podcast. I think we can end it now. Goodbye.
Good night, America.
For the rest of the night, just Google pictures of George Peros and Cal Clutterbuck. That's all you need.
When Miller did the Movember, his kind of looked okay as well. This year's.
Now I'm looking at, and now I'm on pictures of looking at Lanny McDonald's mustache.
That just looks like the bristles of a broom.
It
Oh, you didn't-
does.
You didn't see the one for this year?
Oh,
He did the whole like Evil Knievel look.
wait, who are we talking about right now?
Oh, I was talking about Miller. I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, okay. We were talking about. I didn't see Miller's mustache. Oh, gee.
There.
Nice.
I'm just
sinister.
struggling to hear Ben right now.
Yeah. So,
Now I'm looking at Paul McLean's mustache.
Oh my god.
Paul Russ.
Just looks like this one picture.
Why?
Okay. Need to get away from those pictures. Let's just start laughing. Okay, so back to hockey with the Kings and Hawks series.
How about that, eh?
Uh,
I remember I tuned in, I think, right around the third period, and I was like, oh no, the Kings are losing. Oh wait, the Kings aren't losing. Oh my god, the Kings aren't losing. Oh wow. Oh. Oh. I bet Ben is gonna have a lot of things to say about this. But instead we get to hear like weird, windy tunnel feedback.
yeah.
What
So
did
you
I
guys
tell you
can't hear me
guys?
at all.
Okay, I heard that.
You did?
No, yeah.
Okay, so if I cup my hands in front of my mouth, you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Well, this is gonna be really annoying.
Can someone turn on your camera right now so we can see you cupping yourself?
My computer doesn't have a webcam.
It's 2014.
No, it's 2000. Last time we determined it was 2004. Remember?
Yeah, well,
I'm pretty sure I didn't even hit puberty in 2004.
Damn.
Actually, that might be true. I was like 12. Oh, I'm not sure.
and now we're talking about puberty.
Yay.
Yay!
Yeah.
Still better than covering the Blackhawks game. But I missed the
Yeah.
first period, and I was like, oh, okay, nice. We've got a comfortable lead.
We're gonna come full circle, and it's gonna because I'm gonna say this comment. You know who hasn't hit puberty? Sidney Crosby. You know how I know? Because of his mustache.
It's just a middle school soup strainer.
And we just came full circle.
And we were just I don't know what that team was, but it wasn't the Blackhawks. So I'm actually confident we can bounce back because I did not recognize the team in the third period. I don't think they will be back, and I think they will look like they have something to prove for the next game because they were an embarrassment and they know they were an embarrassment and they should be embarrassed.
Yeah, because I didn't get to watch it. I watched part of it and then I stopped because I wasn't feeling well. And I looked at the score and I was just like, what happened? And yeah, so let's hope they don't do that again.
Yeah. The Kings are still a scary team for me, and I think that if we get past the Kings, we have the cup. Just like if the Kings get past us, they have the cup, because I think that both teams should have no problem with either the Habs or the Rangers. And yeah, I guess I've been one of those people that's been berating the Eastern Conference, but I don't know. My predictions have been pretty good so far. I've said that the Rangers are going to go far. I've said that called the Avalanche making the playoffs. So my crystal ball says that the Western Conference takes the Stanley Cup very confidently.
Lundqvist turns on God mode. Things might get a little hairy.
Yeah.
Quick and Crawford have that God mode too.
Yeah, I'm just.
And for some reason, both of them will only have it in the playoffs, but
Stanley Cup final Lundqvist scares me.
We haven't seen Stanley Cup final Lundqvist yet either.
Yeah, we've seen an Olympic final Lundqvist
Yeah.
a few times. So it'll be interesting. I don't think Montreal's going to get very far without Price. So
Agreed,
Yeah. I think this is the one game Montreal wins in this series. The Rangers take the next game and then take it in Montreal,
yeah,
starting off a riot in the city of Montreal.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not like. I don't think Tokarski's gonna pull anything like Ken Dryden. I don't see it happening.
yeah.
Because kid's got talent for sure, but I think the Rangers they're probably overwhelmingly gonna I think they've got this.
They're just so goddamn fast too.
Yeah.
God, that wing play.
Okay. So all the other news today.
Yes, this. The Islanders will be keeping the 2014 pick and be giving the Sabres their 2015 pick, which also gives them an extra lottery pick for McDavid too.
Yes.
yeah, that's the main implication. That's the entire reason
God.
they're doing
We have
this.
3 tickets to the McDavid lottery now.
Wow. God.
Putting
I mean-
all of your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to get it. Technically 2. St. Louis is probably not missing the playoffs.
I
next
feel bad
year.
for McDavid. Just the pressure that's got to be on that guy, and he's just a kid.
Well, even
Yeah.
if we lose, first overall like we did last year, I think Jack Eichel is a good consolation prize. So,
Like if McDavid scores, his career average is like 15 goals and 30 assists. Those are respectable numbers, but everyone's gonna look at him as like, we'll remember him as being the biggest bust in history if he does that. Like, I gotta feel sorry for that kid.
he's got so much pressure on him.
Yeah.
And he's going to have the media on him just as much as Crosby did when he first came in. So that can taint his image going forward. I mean, because Crosby did some childish things when he first got into the league. So,
Yeah, all the diving and the
yeah. So that's going to, if,
nut punch. I was a big Crosby hater back in the day, but I'm not anymore just because he's matured. There's no reason to hate him anymore, except for when he plays against us. But
other than that, all of his faults were he was too young
yeah,
and too much media.
I think it's the same thing with LeBron James. It's like, yeah, I hated him when he first came into the league, but to be honest, the reason I hate the Heat right now is not because of LeBron James, it's because of Chris Bosh, and he's a diver and he's a little bitch. So
Yep.
I mean, I have no problem with LeBron James.
It's fun to watch LeBron James.
I think. So, do you think Islanders keeping this year's pick was a good move?
It looks like where he'll be drafting, because I know they're pretty high on Michael Dal Cole, so it seems that's the guy who we may be getting this draft.
It's not too bad. I mean, I can understand why you guys are keeping it. It's silly to give up a 5th overall pick.
Yeah. Well, the other news though is we signed Halak today too to a 4-year contract.
You guys should take a look at my fellow countryman Draisaitl for the draft. He's probably going to be around 5-ish.
Yeah.
Who?
Draisaitl. He's like the only good German hockey player outside of Christian Ehrhoff.
Draisaitl.
Grice, I
You might
guess.
have to spell that one out.
Draisaitel.
In 64 games played this year, he has 38 goals and 67 assists with 24 penalty minutes. He plays for Prince Albert in the WHL.
What did Albert do to be a prince?
Be born to a king? Duh.
Live in a can.
Yeah, that guy, he was, a lot of Sabres fans were hoping that if we were going to get the 5th overall this year, that's who we would grab.
So Prince Albert was the prince consort to Queen Victoria.
Yep. Died in 1861. The last thing he did before he died was settle the Trent affair during the Civil War, which actually, if that wasn't settled, would have possibly led to British intervention for the sake of the Confederacy due to American harassment of British shipping.
That's actually a really interesting fact.
Yeah,
Thank you, history major.
no problem. And then after that, died of Crohn's disease and other failures and cancer.
No.
So, not a good way to go out, but.
If I could ask Kron a question, I would ask, yo, Kron, what is it like knowing that your legacy is that you have a disease named after you? I don't even know if Kron is an actual person. They could just be calling it Crohn's disease for shits and giggles.
Well, I've never heard of Crohn's disease. I've heard of Crohn's disease.
I think that's what he's talking about.
I don't. I heard someone say Crohn's disease, so I assumed you guys were talking about that.
Well, it's named after the guy who was the first to describe disease that Beryl.
Usually when you're a doctor and you discover a disease, you name it after yourself, not your patient.
Yeah.
Maybe he discovered it on himself.
Man, I really have the shits. I'm gonna name this after myself.
Yeah.
Oh God.
A really delayed laugh.
Just now getting it?
Back to Halak though. Even though it's
so we are still talking about shit then. Oh damn!
No, if we were talking about shit, we'd be talking about Anders Nielsen.
Oof.
God, that man's Swiss cheese. From now on, his nickname shall be Swiss Miss. But aside from that, I like this signing. Although the one thing I wish it was like a 2-year deal with an option for a third, not a 4-year deal. But other than that, no real complaints. I just hope his groin's healthy and that he doesn't have a groin pull. And is good, but the streaky kind of good that he can be.
Now, do you think he's going to be able to carry you guys to the playoffs next year?
That's a good question. It depends on how well is the defense in front of him, which could be very leaky. And I hope we address this offseason.
See, that's the concern. Is everyone's saying that you guys signing Halak is gonna affect, you getting into the playoffs and so on.
Yeah.
But you guys have holes in other positions.
Some people are saying Tavares will be healthy. We have Halak to come the playoffs, but I could see us realistically ending up 9th place in the conference and just being like right outside the playoffs. Close, but no cigar. We need to seriously address a lot of these holes. We cannot be considered a contender or even the first round with this defense that we have. It's too leaky and a little slow at times. Also makes stupid mistakes too.
That sums up defense for us too. So I think if you guys can address those in the off season, I can see you guys doing better, but your team's not in a situation to attract many potential
Yeah. No,
players.
we're not not even close to that. We could get like a few like role type guys, but us to get like a key player or even someone who could be a key contributor, it's gonna be difficult. Um,
Yeah.
Suburban Long Island
Not
is
like
not
this year's FA
exactly the
class is going
biggest
to be
place to go.
particularly great, though, right?
What?
What'd you say?
What was that?
What?
Huh?
Am I talking?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think this year's FA class is the greatest anyway. Like, you might get some decent pieces, but I wouldn't expect like significant strides to be made through off-season acquisitions. I don't
Yeah.
think this year.
I mean, aside from that, does anyone really want to come to suburban Long Island?
Well, it's not that. It's my concern is more that your owner will actually pay people.
Yeah, Charles. Well, I mean, the good news is Charles Wong's days as owner are numbered, considering he's selling the team. But that could take a long time to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully this Syracuse thing is true, and this guy is willing to spend on the team. But also, it puts away the rumor that he has more money than most, because I find that hilarious, and also like a John Spano showing up again, but with a mustache on.
I think if you guys can if he sells the team sooner rather than later, you guys have a better chance of attracting the type of players you need.
Yeah, it's really just everyone. I mean, last podcast I was going about how I have a beef with Garth Snow, but what it really comes down to is Wong and his penny pinching ways.
Yeah. Because it's insane.
The GM could do only so much, and then after that, the rest is the owner.
Yep, and if he's not gonna pay, you
Yeah.
can't do anything.
Yeah, it really puts us in a vice.
And hopefully your guys' move to Brooklyn kind of changes things.
Yeah, except for the way the arena layout is. The Barclays Center is not a hockey arena. But hopefully
You
it
guys
does
want-
attract more, because the Long Island Railroad hub is right there too, and should make going to games a bit easier.
Well, there's also we can go on the other news that's happened tonight. The shenanigans in the game.
Oh yeah, tonight was a very chirpy game.
Yes, that's
Um,
an understatement.
yeah. Well, if you're Dan Carcillo, tonight was a very elbowy type game.
I don't even think he played long enough to really say he had a game at all.
Yeah. He was just in the moment.
Now, do you guys think he's gonna get nailed with that
And that was
suspension?
one very short moment.
He was just like, YOLO, I'm just gonna elbow this ref.
That's gonna go over well, right, guys? This will give my team the boost they need.
He runs the risk of actually getting suspended for what he did.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact quote, but because he got into it with a ref, he can get 10 games.
It's going to be very interesting tomorrow to see how that gets addressed.
Yep.
The head on Stepan might get acknowledged too.
That too.
Mm.
But I think the going after the ref might be the worst of them.
Yeah, you can't do that.
as soon as he did that, the first thing that came into mind was that gif of Mike Leggio going, "You can't do that,"
Um,
because that's about right.
I think in the first
I like
period
how you
alone,
imagine gifts. I like how you imagine GIFs and not actually actual video footage of the event happening.
Well, it's because
So
it
like,
gets referenced so
instead of like
much.
imagining, like you don't imagine the actual scene happening in your head where he skates over and his microphone booms over and you hear, "You can't do that." I
No.
imagine you imagining him skating over topically, frame by frame, and then him mouthing things and a little caption in, an obnoxious yellow font goes, "You can't do that." And
The
there's
one
probably,
I use is actually white font, but yes.
I bet they typoed it and forgot to put in like the apostrophe.
Not sure. I'll have to check. But yeah, that's all I could think of during when he did that. You just don't do shit like that.
Yeah. I think the first period alone, I heard Brendan Prust's name heard more times than any other player.
Can you imagine if Brandon Prust scored at all today, let alone like the game winner?
It was interesting.
Yep.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's, I think, the best word for everything that happened today.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it plays out, suspension-wise. Though we might not know for a couple days.
I think we'll know before Game 4.
Yeah, they're usually pretty quick about this stuff.
Yeah. They're not gonna make no bones about this one, probably.
Let's see. I'm trying to think what other news happened today.
It wasn't today, but Jim Benning got hired by the who was it? The Canucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So he'll take over as new general manager.
I've also heard rumors about Adam Oates interviewing for the Leafs assistant coach role.
The Leafs.
Interesting.
That is very
Um,
interesting.
Based off what I've read, I kind of don't want it to happen unless he's exclusively working on the power play, because he was good on the power play for Washington, but then in all other aspects, he was pretty terrible as far as I know.
Yeah, because I would love to have him as on the power play, but outside of that, no.
Yeah.
Because he's not.
I mean, you take that and you take Adam Oates and you give him Phil Kessel and James Van Riemsdyk, and I'm sure he can do a very good job with them. That said, I don't think it's a difficult job to do a good job with them because they're that skilled. But I don't see how hiring him would fix any of the deficiencies that Randy Carlyle had this past year. Because
It's not going to fix their defense.
exactly, like I don't think Oates did any better than Carlyle in terms of defense. So if he does end up behind the Leafs bench, he better damn well be focusing on the offense and nothing else.
Yeah, but it's not going to fix their defense, so it's not going to fix their problem, and we're probably still going to have a yearly meltdown of the Leafs. Which,
I try not to think about it too much.
So
I know.
much fun. Has there been any news about the Pittsburgh GM yet?
Nothing that I've heard other than Crosby's agent declining to go for that role. I'm going through Dreger's Twitter account right now. Apparently Barry Trotz was in Washington yesterday, and he met with the owner of the Capitals and also the president. So that's vague and ambiguous, sort of, but that's also like, yo, he's totally trying to get that job right now.
It's a good job to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got that going for him at least. Okay,
Yeah.
so we want to check the questions, see what we got going.
Yeah. Let's.
Well, we didn't answer any of them at all. I remember we were talking about them very briefly, but
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't touched them.
the difficult thing about getting to the questions is that I had to sift through a bajillion comments complaining about Ben's microphone. Ah man, Ben's microphone is so bad. There's so much background noise. A lot of food questions. I'm seeing if there's anything that's actually related to sports. No dice. So here's one question. I'm gonna read it word for word because I think it's a funny typo. What toppings would you put on your dream burrito? I think the intent was toppings, but
Toppings.
topping.
I gotta think about that.
I like it with carnitas, black beans, roasted veggies, spicy salsa, the brown rice, not the white rice, because brown rice is more tastier, and cheese, guacamole, sour cream. That's what I would say that. Oh, it has to have extra meat too. Yeah.
I don't go to Chipotle enough to really answer this question very soundly. I'm trying to think, cause like I'm having difficulties remembering all the ingredients and stuff right now. But I know if you put me in front of a Chipotle and I actually go in an order and they start asking me for ingredients, I'll know what the hell to order. I think I probably would go with carnitas as well because carnitas is great.
Yeah.
Well, chorizo is also pretty freaking good too. I'm gonna agree on the brown rice thing. Definitely would need some guac. Then the rest of the vegetables, honestly, not sure off the top of my head, but no mushrooms.
So I'm gonna sound like a terrible person. I have not been to a Chipotle in 5 years.
Wow.
Say that again?
I have not been to one in 5 years, and I have a
You've
very
not
good
been to a
reason
what?
to a Chipotle.
Did you just say Chipotle?
Yeah.
It's Chipotle.
I thought it was Chipotle.
But I haven't been there in 5
Hang
years.
on, I gotta call you out on Twitter right now. I gotta call you out on Twitter, make fun of you for saying Chipotle.
I have an excuse, though. I have a very good excuse.
What's your excuse?
I live in a town with about 10,000 people, and we don't have one. Our closest one until 6 months ago was 4.5 hours away. I think that's kind of an excusable thing. And we recently got news that there's going to be one an hour and a half away. So it's not one of those things where I can just go like I used to.
Yeah. Me and all the Chipotles are not close to me. I have to go pretty far deep into the heart of Toronto to really find one. Not convenient, but at least they're there, I guess.
Yeah, they're there. They're just 4.5 hours away, just like everything else where I live. So
You should move from wherever the hell in northern Minnesota you live.
I like it where I'm at. It's nice and quiet sometimes. But we have
Nice and quiet is keyword for piss boring.
yeah. There was a high-speed chase the other day, and I was excited.
When you're excited over high-speed chases, then I think you're doing things wrong.
But yeah, when I make my own burritos, I do steak, rice, salsa, sour cream, cheese. I don't do beans, so pretty much that.
Chipotle by me is pretty close. It's really just a few minutes away. So could get it most of the time. Except the line is so long that I have to order online. There's never been a time where I've seen that Chipotle empty.
Yeah, the only like Mexican type restaurant we have is a Taco John's. We don't even have Taco Bell.
Oh, that's good.
So, all right, what other questions are there?
Bit of a slow night today, I think.
Yeah.
It is also slightly late, so.
Just a little bit. Just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit.
Here's a question off our hockey. That's pretty interesting to answer.
Okay.
Who is
Wait,
the best?
you're telling me there was actual legitimate conversation going on our hockey today, and not just an extremely angry, incoherent mess of an argument on the internet today? Because my understanding was that, given today's game,
Yeah, no. It for the most part, our hockey was pretty unbearable, but at the same time, this post right here is like a little shred of hope
All right.
in
Well,
a vast wasteland of despair. Anyway, it was who is the best GM in the NHL?
Brian Burke, nah.
no, he's just hilarious.
Yeah, no.
Oh, and I want him to do press conferences.
Sonic the Hedgehog. It's Sonic the Hedgehog.
That hair.
Ken Holland or Lou Lamoriello?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Holland. I think.
Also
I
add
think
Mark
it's anyone else.
to that list too. He's done a fantastic job for the Canadians.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no, just purely on principle.
Yeah.
Although I do find it hilarious how when you squint and don't look carefully, he kind of looks like frick, that dude from Jurassic Park. I just blanked on his name. Jeff Goldblum.
That'd be an interesting movie, Jeff Goldblum as NHL GM.
That'd be hilarious.
Of course, it'd probably have to be done by Wes Anderson.
So contrary to the who's the best GM, who's the worst GM?
I don't think he's been in long enough for me to definitively say it, but I have not been exceedingly happy about Dave Nonis. Some of the things he's done have been good. I agree with extending Phaneuf. I agree with extending Kessel. And I don't think the Bernier trade was bad. And some of the moves have been alright. But then, David Clarkson.
Yeah. Does Mike
you see my
Gillis
expression
kind
right
of
now?
count?
I just look so dead
Gillis
inside right
kind of
now.
counts, but that's not who comes to mind for me for my worst.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Did your candidate lose 2 number 1 goalies in like the span of like, I don't know, 2 years, was it?
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah, that was.
That's pretty freaking bad. Just saying.
And they're stuck with a unproven rookie who's talented, but
You got nice hair.
He just seems to be lacking something.
he's still a rookie or still young. So very. Ugh. But I have to say, Garth Snow does not do very good things.
He's slightly better than Mike Milbury, but oh my God, stop talking about the future and do something for the now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that Vanek trade.
Yeah, Molson for Vanek, that trade kind of was okay because Vanek did good things for us. But the next trade that followed, Vanek for Kohlberg, oh my God, Kohlberg's never gonna make it to the, is never gonna see. He'll probably see a few NHL games, but he'll never consistently see NHL games.
And another GM that comes to mind, Holmgren. He does some fun. He did do some funny things in the past, but his is more let's throw money at the situation.
Yeah, contracts.
Yeah. So.
Can the Oilers count?
Yes.
Just based off their draft history and how the hell they're not getting better.
Yeah, you don't. Well, part of why they're not getting better is they started the rebuild by building their forwards first, and now they're recently focusing on defense, and defense takes longer to develop.
Yeah.
So it's just prolonging the process.
I feel bad for the Nuge.
Yeah.
He could be on a team that's pretty good right now. Instead, he's stuck in Edmonton.
I think, and that's one of the things I like. It's kind of optimistic for being a Sabres fan, but we started building our defense prospects first. So our process shouldn't be as long as theirs. Hopefully, in theory, please.
Yeah.
So.
Good news is hopefully this prediction's right. If and when we do get our new owner, I kind of hope Snow is out of a job. Like this guy will come in and possibly change things around. Hopefully for the better.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but we'll see. Just has to happen.
I'm thinking here, because who would you want as your GM?
Not sure really. I would just want someone, like, I can't think of a name right now, but I just want someone who can keep at least drafting well, because Snow has done some good drafting, like drafting Strome and of course Tavares, which was a no-brainer that year, but also be willing to not make like drastic trades and just make sure we're improving. It's a very broad statement, but that's what I want to see.
Works. Alright. Let's see.
I wonder why Ron has both his mics mute. Interesting.
Wow, I just had like a false train of thought, and that none of that just came out because of muted mic.
Want to try it again?
I really don't. I'm so full of regret.
Alright.
This is how lazy I am. Okay, what I actually said, about 40 minutes ago, Ari Raid made a tweet, not directed to any of us, but I thought it's relevant to our GM conversation. She says, I don't want Brian Bruck to GM every team. I just want him to do the press conferences for the GM of every team.
That'd be perfect.
Yes, it would. I think that would be perfect. And I was just reading Darren Dreger saying that Carcillo can receive 20 games.
Oh, God.
If the officials deem that he intended to injure, 10 games when there's no intent to injure. So he's looking at least 10 games, possibly 20.
So that includes this playoffs and the start of next season.
Pretty much. And does
Wow.
he have a contract that runs through next season?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
What he did was not.
Smart.
No.
No.
He does not have a contract. So what would happen is the same situation as Kanaka and his suspension. It would just start at the beginning of whatever team signs him.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Wow, the Rangers
I
have
think
a-
he's screwed. My opinion.
Wow, the Rangers have a lot of free agents next year.
yeah.
Restricted and unrestricted. Oh.
Guys, don't try and steal Jake Gardner, please and thanks.
I don't think we are. But yeah, if he's not making
Someone
much
might
money.
try. Dude could be.
So essentially that if he gets nailed with a suspension, he's done for at least a quarter of the season.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh.
But at the same time, though, are the Rangers really losing much by not having Carcillo in the lineup anymore?
No. Even in the broadcast today, I think it was Olchek who says like, yeah, Visional doesn't look like he misses Carcillo much.
Yeah, so
Call up someone from the team.
Hmm.
From the AHL team. Let him play. I'll be all good.
Probably just easily do as good as what Carcillo was doing. He just looked like he was filling a hole out there on the ice. For the sake of being there.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. If it's anything like the Clarkson situation from preseason, they might have a ruling tomorrow. Because it's one of those, you either did this or you didn't.
Yeah.
There's no like measuring variables. So
God, what an idiot.
yeah, that's
Pretty
it.
much.
And there's no hockey tomorrow.
Wait, actually?
There's no
Wait.
hockey tomorrow.
Wow. Oh yeah, next game is Saturday. Game 3, Kings Hawks. You know, I still don't know who I want to win that series. I'm very neutral.
Yeah.
I'm at a point where I want the Kings to win, but I'd also be cool if the Blackhawks doing it.
So just kind of like, some good hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Although, you guys know my thoughts on the ECF, so...
yeah. You want the Rangers.
Yep.
This is interesting. This is on Pro Hockey Talk on the NBC, one of the NBC sports blogs. But the Ducks and Sharks are not interested in Ryan Miller.
Womp womp.
So much for that whole idea of him going to the West Coast to be with his wife, unless he wants to go to Vancouver.
And Vancouver doesn't need. Well, I don't know if they're going to jump at a goalie.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
realistically, could they get Miller for 2 years and just until they could transition completely to Lack?
I think they're putting all their eggs in for, that Lack. I think that's who they're going to go for.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Miller can do at this point because St. Louis is obviously invested in Elliott already.
Yep.
If SoCal isn't interested in him, then I don't know. I actually don't know what he's gonna do at this point.
I mean, looking at
I
this
think-
article, the other spots they were saying were Vancouver, Pittsburgh, and Minnesota, but Cassie, as you
Minnesota.
said, Minnesota's not going to do it because they have their 3 goalies and Bridge to deal with, right?
As much
What's
as
more
I'd like Briz to
Backstrom?
go back, I don't think Briz is going to be back.
Yeah.
I could see Briz possibly being back, but if Minnesota's going after Vanek, even though
They're not gonna have
Vanek,
much.
they're not going to have. Well, Vanek said he'll take a pay cut to go where he wants,
Yeah.
but they have to handle the Backstrom situation, and it's very tricky with his contract because. And I've said this a couple times, but he signed his contract after the age of 35 under the new CBA. So no compliance buyouts. If they use a regular buyout, they're hit with a cap. If he retires, they're hit with his cap hit. They can't move him because he has a no move clause. And they got to figure out what they're going to do with that contract if they want to bring in another goalie. So,
And it
Spoiler
doesn't look
alert,
like,
they won't.
no.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like Harding's going to play next year because of his MS, and so be Kemper.
And
Kemper's good.
honestly, before he got injured, I think Kemper was totally fine.
Yeah, Kemper was doing fantastic. So it's really interesting because the options are like Miller can go to Winnipeg, possibly, but he doesn't want to go to a Canadian team. Vancouver, no Canadian teams.
So then, I mean, they're also saying in the article Pittsburgh and possibly Washington, but I don't want Ryan Miller in the Metropolitan Division.
I don't think anybody wants Ryan Miller in their division.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what division you're in.
Send him back to the West and just banish him over there.
But if you look at all the teams that possibly need goaltending, I don't see the Penguins going after him.
Yeah. What about the Capitals? They have Holtby and Grubauer,
Right.
but
He's not bad.
yeah, that's not bad. Seems Holtby is the long-term solution in DC.
So that's not that's one of those other places that's ruled out. The Flyers don't need him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because they got Mason.
Then again, at the same time, I don't think any of these teams really quote-unquote need him per se. But at the same time, if Ryan Miller comes knocking on your door and says, "Yo, I want to play for your team," are you gonna say no?
it depends on how much he wants.
Yeah.
That can make a difference if he wants way too much money for his age. And he's not going to come back to Buffalo.
No.
We have way too many goalies. And he was holding up the process of getting everybody through the system. So
Next season is Enroth going to be the starter?
nobody has been declared the starter outright. The plan is that Enroth and Neuwirth are going to compete for number 1 position. But there's been rumors that Neuwirth has said that if he's not declared number 1, he's not going to try. So
That's a great freaking attitude. Good job,
Yeah.
dude.
that's not going to go over very well. And Enroth's been dying to have this position, so he's going to give. I'm confident he's going to give it his best shot, and he's a very capable goalie.
Yeah. Also with the Ducks, they're also looks like they decided they're gonna go with the tandem of Gibson and Anderson for next season too.
Yeah, not bad.
Kind of knew that too, because Hiller was basically on the outs, not just in this playoffs but in the season.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes he would play absolutely lights out, and then there'd be other times when he'd just completely drop the ball. Because I had Miller on my fantasy team, and there were weeks where he would absolutely carry me in terms of the goalie points, but then there are other times where it was just
Excuse
Oh
me.
God, why do I have this guy on my team?
I'm looking through the
In
teams.
one of my teams, I picked up Anderson for like a back for just a few weeks because one of my goalies got hurt and he did pretty well. So
I'm just looking at all the options, like all the teams. Ottawa doesn't need a goalie, or do you think they're gonna go with Anderson?
how old is Anderson?
Mm,
Isn't he like in his 30s?
okay, their roster is really hard to get to. Greg Anderson is 33.
Okay, so that's not bad.
Mm. But that's Miller's about the same. So is he going to be worth the money? And I don't want him in our division, but you know.
No.
And Toronto's not going to go after him.
Nope,
No.
Bernie.
So there's really no teams that could go after him. Maybe Calgary.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, although there's no one in front of him on that team.
Yeah, he'd be back in the same situation as he was with us. But he
Yeah. Just basically going back to square one. I mean, he'll have Sean Monahan, that's it.
Yeah, no, so he's gonna have to suck it up if he wants to keep playing and just go someplace cold.
Yeah. Or, like, if he wants to go to a contender, possibly take less money.
Yeah. So that's gonna be what determines it because
I feel
Is it-
like... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's just not many teams in the market for a goaltender.
Yeah, I feel like if this was like a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, he would have a market to command. But you're right, at this point, everyone seems to have their guy, and he's like the odd man out.
Oh yeah, at the same time, you never really need another goaltender until suddenly everyone gets hurt.
Yeah,
This is true.
And quite frankly, that happened a few times. I feel like that happened a little bit during the season, so not necessarily jobless. It just doesn't seem like there is room.
yeah. Well, I
But
mean,
he's
it's
gonna
happening
ask.
now too, Montreal.
Yeah, he's gonna also ask for a lot of money though,
Yeah,
and he's probably not gonna go someplace to be a backup. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to watch over the summer.
could he go to Carolina?
They have Ward and
Oh, right.
the other one they're running with.
Oh, yeah. I forget Cam Ward's still in the Hurricanes.
Yeah. Kadobin. I think that's it. Yeah, him. So they're gonna roll with them and Justin Peters.
Yeah, Justin Peters was pretty good this season.
Yeah, so they're gonna go with 3 goalies.
Nashville has Rene. Phoenix has Smith. What about Dallas?
Lettinen.
Oh, yeah, true.
Florida has Luongo. Everyone pretty much has a goalie.
Yeah. It's like he's gonna have to take a cut or something.
Yeah, Calgary, Vancouver, possibly Winnipeg.
I'm gonna actually make a prediction that Vancouver does sign him, but it's a short contract. It's a big money contract, but for not that many years.
I could see that. It is kind of close to his wife,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And
that's
it's a Canadian city, but for Canadian cities, Vancouver's pretty cosmopolitan. Is the right word?
yeah. So Yeah, there's no teams for him. He's
He could-
homeless.
He could go to the KHL.
I think everybody would be okay with that.
Yeah.
So. Okay. So.
Judging that we're over an hour, let's say we start wrapping up.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So this has been episode 13 of our Hockey After Hour. You could follow us on Twitter at ourhockeycast. You could visit us on the internet at ourhockeycast.com, where you could watch this episode and listen to all previous episodes of not just this show, but all the other shows that we do, such as Summary Sunday and the Puck and Awesome podcast, which Cassie is a host of.
Yep.
And as for our hosts, also you can visit our subreddit too, our HockeyCast, which also you could listen to all the other back episodes too as well, which are put up. Speaking of which, I have to put up tonight's episode after we finish this cast. As for our hosts, you could follow Ben on Twitter. Hopefully he got out of that tunnel. Follow Ben on Twitter at sardines_packed. Packed P-A, spelled P-A-C-K-T. You can follow Cassie on Twitter at Abstract Halo. You can follow Ron on Twitter at Ron in the Box. And you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Paddock. And that pretty much sums it up for tonight. Sadly, there's no hockey tomorrow, so go read a book or go outside or
Fuck.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Books are great. You should read books. Learning is important.
You go outside. You can watch some baseball. You can do whatever you want tomorrow. Next Saturday is the game, so be sure to watch Kings Hawks on Saturday. It should be a doozy. And that just about wraps it up. See y'all Monday, and good night.
Night.